My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is April 14, 2025. It is 4:10 a.m. This is video number 2. The first recording that I did, I only did the first tweet. That was that one. And there's an article in it, and I took a long time, inserting my opinion in it. So it ended up being one video by itself. So let's pretty much continue. This is that's supposed to be the second tweet on that video, but now it's the first one. So this is the background of this channel, same thing as last video. All right, so let's go to the first tweet. It was another review of an article, and I think it makes perfect. You could compare it with this video. All right, I did a review on an article as well. All right, this is the first tweet. They, being the media and the royal family, apart from the Queen, did not welcome Meghan Sussex with open arms. They performatively welcomed her with caution and side-eyeing. What they did welcome was a royal wedding to promote the monarchy globally and a woman who they could use to charm the Commonwealth on the pretense they were a modern monarchy that welcomed diversity. I mean, I've been saying this. They took advantage of the wedding to make money. Not too long ago I said that. But anyway, let me not compare. At least the Sussex squad are pretty much seeing exactly the same way that I see things. Meanwhile, they had concerns about how dark her children's skin might be while trying to work out how to deny her children's titles when Charles took the throne when there will be dual titles. That was scuppered after they whistle blew Oprah. All right, so let's see here. 2010 versus 2018. We welcome her with open arms. Let's see here. That was Mail Online. That was back in 2010. David Starkey. This wedding makes our royal family truly British at last, and I'll raise a glass to bubbly to that. All right. I have a horrible cold. Everyone in my family is sick, and we're going on little getaway next weekend. It seems such a story of today. Prince William is the eventually heir to the oldest and most successful royal house in Europe, and on his marriage to Kate Middleton, will have a choice of title that we call the gore and glory of the Middle Ages. Kate, on the other hand, descends from the line of Durham miners and has a mother who is a former air hostess. The couple met while they were at university together, and like most of their contemporaries, they have had a shot of being together and ended apart before deciding to get married. Okay, 2018. Meghan seeds will taint our royal family. I mean, there's a video that I did a while back. I'll put the clip of the part where they're talking about black people who might move up social ladder, social class, and that will taint the royal family blood.
When racism as such, as a philosophy, kicked in, was as a direct reaction to the abolitionist movement. The abolitionist movement driven by some of the leading intellectuals of the day, as well as driven by hundreds of thousands of ordinary people in this kingdom who signed petitions after petitions and presented them to the House of Lords. When the abolition movement really kicked in from the 1780s onwards, the planters had to respond. And so this is where you get the most virulent imagery about brutal, pagan, bestial.
But the media is a powerful force.
Black people in the literature and in the imagery.
Cartoons portraying black people as licentious and depraved began to circulate.
But the media is a powerful force.
The anti-abolitionist Edward Long wrote,
"The lower-class women in England are remarkably fond of the blacks. In the course of a few generations more, the English blood will become so contaminated with this mixture as even to reach the middle and then the higher orders of the people. This is a venomous and dangerous ulcer that threatens to disperse its malignancy far and wide until every family catches infection from it."
But the media is a...
Okay, so I'm not new to, I mean, a lot of people are not new to this, but they've been at it for a very long time. UKIP Chief's glamour model lover 25 is suspended from the party over racist text about Prince Harry's wife-to-be. I don't know what she said here, but anyway. The Queen was a strategist and wise woman. She may not have liked Meghan, but she saw all the advantage that she brought to the firm and that she will be used strategically in the Commonwealth countries and with the young and people of color who don't really care about the crown. Let's see here. Okay, how do you know she didn't like Meghan? Did she tell you? Did you read the comment at all? Go back and read it again, slowly this time. I pray it sinks in this time. Bless your heart. Okay. One of the things, I think I've said something somewhat similar to this. Whatever was happening in the background, and in the last video that I did, I found it was 2017 that Charles had removed Lord Gates and put Edward Young. So there were a lot of information the Queen probably did not aware of, leading to all the chaos that we saw. And when she was aware of certain things, she did what she needed to do. Let's say during the Jubilee, Meghan and Harry got security while the father was preventing that. And then you have Edward Young, who probably was keeping some information away from the Queen, because this is what Charles said. Okay, but anyway, in any event, the Queen, I don't know, maybe she did know or she did not know. I mean, I have some videos of her when she was much younger, talking about gorillas and all of that.
It's extremely difficult sometimes to keep a straight face. When the Home Secretary said to me, there's a gorilla coming in. So I said, what an extraordinary remark to make, very unkind about anybody. And so, I stood in the middle of the room and pressed the bell and the doors opened. And there was a gorilla. And I had the most terrible trouble in keeping, he had short body, long arms. And I had the most appalling trouble.
So, I don't know. Let's leave that alone. Let me go to the next tweet. They all have their mental issues that they need to work things out to see that God have created us all in a way for all of us to be on this earth. As maybe as the Queen getting older, I don't know, maybe, again, I don't know. Let's leave that alone. Let's go to the next tweet. Alright, so there's that here. Toxic father and son sleeping with the enemy, the media, to abuse your son, brother, and his family, and removing security to force them back into abuse is the whole level of taxant. Harry is right to make sure all that you did is out in public. Alright, one of the things that I said when I was doing the review of that video is that Harry, some of the things that we all discover is through the court document. It is cemented. It's not to the media, the tabloid, to manufacture a thing, and then you hear the presenters in the UK saying, "Oh, he's gonna run to the to the media." Meanwhile, they the one who's doing it. I'm telling you, the UK is masterful at psychology. I just hope the people see through the full-blown BS. Alright, the real issue for me is how they remain unaccountable for their conduct, and the British people pay so much to these grifters. As for Harry and Meghan, Archie and little bit Diana, they're living their lives and are safe, content and happy, and that tells me they won. Well, the thing is that our prayers, we need to be consistent with our prayers. That was kind of small. It is a very successful cult by cult standard. I mean, they know how to do the thing, to manufacture thing. They got the grip of the media, which is what people, that will influence people. And this is how they were able to get Trump in. They capture the media a little at a time. I just hope people see to it in the US. Alright, Professor Tim said, good King Harry is one of the best things in the royal family. Harry and Meghan are doing good for society than the working royals. What will the media do without Harry and Meghan? God bless Harry for the dedication and kind, caring leadership. So let's go into that. And then after that, that'll be it. Oh, there's more comment. Oh my God. There's more. Okay, so we'll go over it really quickly. Alright, so oh my God, 6 minutes and 18 seconds.
So, yesterday, in the middle of all this courtroom battle and stuff, Prince Harry took time off to go to Lviv in Ukraine and the Superhuman Center, a rehabilitation clinic for those physically and emotionally shattered by Russia's brutal invasion and ongoing war. The visit, discreet in nature but deeply symbolic in gesture, reminds the world of Harry's long-standing commitment to wounded veterans and perhaps to the power of principled visibility. The Duke of Sussex has, of course, made headlines recently, not for this surprise trip, but for his concurrent legal battle in London, and his appeal is an attempt to reinstate the level of security once granted to him as a working royal. And his lawyer argued in court that his life is at stake. Yes, rather than retreating into safe obscurity, Harry flew to a city frequently targeted by Russian missiles. Let's recall that Harry is not just a royal but a veteran, 10 years in the British Army, 2 tours in Afghanistan, the founder of the Invictus Games. His credibility in these spaces is not inherited, it has been earned.
That's right.
And in Lviv, Harry met with soldiers and civilians who have suffered amputations, trauma, and the invisible wounds of war. He was joined by veterans from the Invictus Games Foundation, some of whom had undergone similar journeys of pain and recovery, and together they toured operating theatres, prosthetics labs, counselling rooms. He met medical staff and Ukraine's Minister of Veterans Affairs, Natalia Kalmykova. And the Superhuman Center is no ordinary clinic. It stands on the grounds of the Lipa Veterans Hospital and treats more than 3,000 people a year. It offers prosthetics, reconstructive surgery, psychological support, and crucially, all at no cost. It's a sanctuary in a war zone. What's telling is that Harry didn't just pose for photographs, he watched live surgery. He spoke with the injured and their families. He listened. And this symbolism of his visit cannot be overstated. It occurred the day after his court appearance, a stark juxtaposition between 2 battles, one personal, the other political and moral.
Wow.
And it was also pointedly not coordinated with Buckingham Palace, underscoring his status as an independent actor, yet still unmistakably royal and regal beyond the reach of the British media. The British royal family has been vocal in its support for Ukraine. King Charles welcomed President Zelensky to Sandringham. The Duchess of Edinburgh was the first royal to visit Ukraine this year. She visited Kyiv. Prince William met refugees in Estonia, but Harry uniquely went to the front line.
Is it that same charity where he said if he come, he give a smile and that's help? Let me put that clip of William visiting.
I'm sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
sometimes it's just more than financial.
Well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So, you know.
But anyway, that's what came to mind.
Of rehabilitation to the theatre of aftermath, where the costs of war are reconstructed limb by limb. Ukraine has competed in the Invictus Games since 2017, and at the most recent Games in Vancouver, its presence was especially poignant. Harry's visit affirms not only solidarity but strategic continuity. This isn't a celebrity stunt, it's an extension of his work. And Rob Owen, chief executive of the Invictus Games Foundation, noted that the Superhumans visit highlights the foundation's broader commitment to recovery and rehabilitation, even in the most challenging environments. This is diplomacy, not of words but of wounds. It's leadership via empathy. And you wonder why Prince Harry is important. This is why Prince Harry is important. And this is why Prince Harry commands respect, and this is why the treatment of Prince Harry by the British media, by the British Home Office, is so distressingly inappropriate. Prince Harry should be supported, praised, and aided, lauded. Prince Harry is one of the best things of the royal family.
That's right.
He is royal. There's nothing we can do to change that.
That's right.
And to play around with his status, simply to pander to the grosser elements of GB News, is abhorrent.
I pause this for a reason before I forget this thought. There is a battle that's going on here. So many battles that's going on here all at the same time, and I hope people will see it. There's the spiritual battle, and there is the greed battle, and many other small little things as well. What Harry is facing, pretty much both spiritually, mentally, physically, and the political aspect. As much as he is not a politician or anything like that, but it plays a role into politics. What is going on here? There is those group. I've always said the correlation between Harry and Meghan's union and what's happening politically, it's not parallel, because I said that once before, and then when I think about it when I was editing, it's not parallel. It's more of a counterbalance of what's happening politically. You have those people, the MAGAs, the Tories, even those who may not be Tories in the UK. What do you call the other ones who's in power right now? Okay, but they're pretty much the same. But the thing that is happening here, those business people, they are the shadow governments. They stay behind, and then they're controlling puppets, politicians, to do their bidding for them. So they want full free range without any consequences of doing whatever it is that they want around the world. Okay? Anybody who gets in their way, they do whatever they want. There will not be any consequences. So some of the thing that Harry is doing, he's highlighting some of the human errors, the things that politicians are doing that cause disaster, famine, pain, anger, sorrow, you name it. And he's bringing compassion, empathy into that aspect of it, and it's bringing light to the darkness. So those people, the politician, the business people, those evildoers, they do not like that. This is why whoever is into religion, it doesn't matter which religion you are. Because I always think religion is pretty much almost the same thing. It's just different branches of whatever God that we have. Think of a tree with different branches, and then the stump, the root, pretty much underground. It's pretty much this keep the rest of the branches alive. Okay, so that's what how I picture religion, as a tree. It doesn't matter which branch you are in. Pretty much the root of it, pretty much the same. Compassion, understanding, caring, this kind of thing. Be nice to your neighbors and all of that. So this is why we need to pray for him, no matter which religion you are in, because the evil is spreading everywhere, creating bases in every corners of the world to do its bidding for them. And our prayers, it's what's keeping Harry safe and his little family. We need to do that, because there they truly are passionate about, because I don't see myself will be doing something like that, because he is passionate about it. And for him, I don't think he thinks of it as work. He just thinks it's something that must be done. So because of that, he's willing to be in the front line, exposing the cruelty, the suffering, the unnecessary burden that those medias, politicians, business people are inflicting on innocent people. So we need to pray for him, to protect him, and for God to always guide him to do what he does best. All right, but let's continue. He's almost done, by the way. It's 6 minutes, 18 seconds.
There is naturally an unavoidable global undertone to what he does in Lviv. The visit occurred shortly after President Zelensky's tense Oval Office meeting with Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, and amid doubts cast by American leaders about ongoing support, Harry's presence sends a quieter counter message. Some Western allies still show up. Indeed, the timing suggests Harry's visit was meant, at least in part, to offset the increasingly transactional rhetoric coming from Washington. The Sussexes have previously condemned Putin's war as a breach of international and humanitarian law. This was a chance to embody that stance in practical, real presence. So what's next for Harry? A court ruling after Easter for Ukraine, an ongoing battle for survival. But this visit, as both sides of the Christian Church, the East and the West, prepare for the same date of Easter this year. Modest, meaningful, resolutely personal. This visit reminds us that solidarity. It doesn't need to wear a crown or carry a gun. Sometimes it kneels beside a soldier in a wheelchair. It looks at him in the eyes and it says, "You're not forgotten." In a fractured world, the Duke of Sussex has chosen his battlefield, not one of politics or palace protocol, but one of dignity, visibility, and human connection.
There it is.
I cannot admire Prince Harry enough. And I do.
Wow. The human connection, the compassion. Yeah, I understand that. There's so much more going on here. Many people don't see it. And those social media young people who refuse to see what is happening here and carrying out the rhetoric of those old established people whose time are about to be up, they're pretty much messing it up for their own children. Those young social media people. All right, so let's see here. What exactly has the British press and royalists with their troll done for society, yet they have the audacity to call Harry and Meghan disaster tourists? Prince Harry means so much to the wounded veteran community. We can't thank him enough for his service. We stand with Prince Harry. I mean, this is the evil talking. What would you expect them to say? They praise Harry and all of that. If they say they praise Harry, you have to think, what do they have? What is their objective? What do they have, after they praise him to be against him? There's always an undertone. So we can never trust. They probably just want Harry to put his guard down to, while they're praising him and all of that. And then so they could do what they need to do. So at least they're being honest with us. Because we already know they are one of those savages. Okay? So I'm not surprised by that. And it is their talking point. Alright? To consistently talking negative about Harry. Alright? When they said the audacity to call Harry and Meghan disaster tourists. This is their talking point. To consistently repeat. So their gullibles could take it as if it is a gospel. This is exactly what's going on. Okay, so they're preaching to their gullibles. They're the ones whose mind are empty. All right, so this was said for their group to continuously believe that Harry and Meghan are not exactly what we see Harry actually doing. Okay, I hope I make sense with what I'm saying. What exactly the British press royalists with their trolls done for society, they have the audacity to call Harry and Meghan disastrous. I mean, that's their typical talking point. If you say high, they say low. If you say left, they say right. So this is what we expect from them. They are the darkness of light. So Harry is shining light onto their BS. They do not like it. This is why our prayers is very important for the Sussexes. All right, did I finish it? Prince Harry means so much to the wounded veterans community. We can't thank him enough for his service. And one video, oh my God, is that a thread? Okay, I don't think I want to go through all the thread here, but let's listen to this. Oh my God.
Somebody posted a picture of you and made a whole declaration of that one picture of you. wouldn't like it, would you? What's a disaster tourist? That's a phrase you just learned from right-wing media, isn't it?
Exactly.
Did you know that these people in Ukraine are friends of Harry's? These are athletes from the Invictus Games. Do you know what the Invictus Games is? That is a foundation that Harry started after he got done serving in Afghanistan to help the rehabilitation of wounded veterans. This is not a photo op for him. If it was a photo op from him, he would have told everybody ahead of time that he was going to be there. He dropped them pictures after he left. He's contributing money to them. He's looking at the Superhuman Center and going, what do you guys need? How can I help? He made it abundantly clear that he will never turn his back on those soldiers. You don't know that because your brain is about yay big, and I want it to grow, sis. I really do. I don't want you living in stupidity your whole adult life. I want you to get your fucking head out of tabloids and actually read some accredited, honest reporting. Now, I know it's hard out here in these streets.
I was just about to pause and say that. It's very hard to find them because they infiltrate in every established media outlet, which I have reported on this channel. Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, with the murder group putting Will Lewis and all of that into our established medias. Once we find out who are individual independent journalists that we trust, these are the ones we should follow. Okay, and I hope those independent media journalists create their own website or create their own social media following so people could at least follow, like Katie Couric, for instance. All right, she's not working for any broadcasters or anything like that. She has a YouTube channel. I know many people talk down on YouTubers, but this is a form of connection with the rest of the world. People who have something positive to say, all right, and they need to broadcast it. The next best thing is YouTube or anything that's close to YouTube to put in to broadcast their thought. This is why Meghan have said she takes that very seriously. If you have a platform, you have something to say, you say things that is positive to help people.
Well, you know, I feel a really big responsibility. Like if you have this kind of job and you have an opportunity to have a profile where people are listening to what you're saying, I really, truly think you need to be saying something that's valuable. So yes, you can talk about like, where did Rachel get that pencil skirt? Fine, sure. We can have that conversation. But I'd also like to talk about
women's rights.
Women's rights and like my work with UN Women or with World Vision or humanitarian trips or just really bolstering self-esteem that has nothing to do with the external.
So find an established reporter and follow them, because they have nothing to lose at this point, because all mainstream medias have been infiltrated by the Tories, the MAGAs, the type of BS you see in the UK. It's happening in the US as well. So I'm glad she's explaining that. All right, she explained much better than I do. I didn't even know it was there, but looks like I'm gonna have another video because this is like a long thread. All right, so let's continue. Let me move it back slightly. Even though you'll be seeing a screenshot, I cannot play the video freely. YouTube will flag my video.
Need some accredited, honest reporting. Now, I know it's hard out here in these streets, but it exists. And then I need you to do me a favor, if you dare to respond to me, because that's something you trolls never do. You guys drop your little stupid ass comments and go run back under the bridge in which you came from. What have you done for your community? I want to see you match what Prince Harry does daily. Show me the receipts. And until you can do that, I'm going to ask you nicely to get the fuck off my page. Or disrespectfully, however you want me to come at you, ma'am. But don't come in here with that right-wing Justine Bateman bullshit. Be original, okay? Bye.
That's a very good point. And there's more. Oh my God. Let's go into that. Okay, this is gonna be, oh my Lord, the squad are putting I wasn't aware of all of this. Okay, watch this video and see the pains and the British press and royalists face because Harry is working for himself without them. There's the laugh here. Why would the palace know about Prince Harry traveling plans? He doesn't work for them and he is not tax funded. And this is why they don't want to give him security. And they want to know in advance when he's coming. That way, you know, put one and one together for yourself. I don't want to say what I'm thinking. Let's listen.
A surprise visit to Ukraine as part of his work supporting injured veterans. He toured the Superhuman Centre in Lviv, where wounded soldiers and civilians are treated and rehabilitated. It's understood Buckingham Palace was not aware of the trip in advance. Meanwhile, the government has announced a further £50 million of military support for Ukraine. Nick Dixon is at Buckingham Palace for us. Good morning to you, Nick.
Okay, I played this already.
The war with Russia underlines Prince Harry's commitment to helping injured soldiers.
Morning, Sean. Yeah, with Prince Harry's background, no real surprise that he would want to be involved in a trip like this, which we understand was kept under wraps, really for safety and security reasons. He was invited earlier this year to Ukraine, really through his connections in the Invictus Games, to meet patients and staff and to see the kind of work that they're doing, spend time with them, seeing the prosthetics work, the reconstruction surgery and the rehab that they are doing with injured soldiers. Just a few days, of course, after he was in London for that court hearing about his UK security arrangements, but certainly a trip that would have had no involvement with the palace.
Once upon a time, there's absolutely no way he would have gone to Ukraine without Buckingham Palace knowing, and the UK Foreign Office knowing, and the embassy in Ukraine knowing. But this was organised predominantly through his contacts that he made at the Invictus Games in Vancouver just a few months ago.
A number of royals, of course, have been very public with their support for Ukraine, not least the King. Harry's dad, just earlier this month, welcomed President Zelensky to Sandringham, and on top of that, the Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie, visited the country last year. But Sean, Prince Harry's trip over the last 24 hours, very much a solo effort with no involvement, no planning from the palace.
Nick, thank you very much indeed.
All right, this one.
What he's supporting.
Alongside his work with veterans, which does have to be applauded, and for all his work with the Invictus Games, do you think he was also trying to make a point about security, as you say, by being in a war zone? Or do you think, as some of the papers are suggesting, it might have been political messaging to Donald Trump to show support for Ukraine and Zelensky in this way?
Well, I'm sure it won't go down well with some in the Trump camp that he's gone there. And yes, I'm sure it's a show of support for Ukraine and the work they're doing there. So that may make things a bit more uncomfortable for him back in the US when he gets back. But there again, you know, the King and other members of the royal family here in the UK have continued to profess their support for Ukraine's cause.
They're just stirring the pot, okay? Because they already have issues with him being in the US. They're just stirring the pot. Harry is a private citizen, and they are fully aware about Harry's Invictus. During Trump's first presidency, I think Melania went to one of the Invictus Games and stuff like that. So they're trying to create something because they know Trump doesn't care about anything. So they're trying to stir the pot, between Trump and Harry.
Against Russian aggression.
And I think it's what he needs to do to be seen as relevant, because if he doesn't do the Invictus Games and things like that, the only other thing he's got is a walk-on part in one of Meghan's podcasts or, sort of documentaries, or else going to the High Court. So I think he kind of needs this thing. The only thing that surprises me is the timing, because it occurred on the third day of the state visit to Italy. And there's a golden rule with the royals that you don't do anything high profile. You don't go on tour when one of...
Oh my God, he didn't even know Charles' schedule. One thing I realized with the Sussexes, once they make a trip, they probably kill two birds with one stone, so they could take care of things and things like that. So they don't have to travel every day, or this week I'm going here, this week. While he's out, he does his round, and then once he goes back home, and he just do work from home. So how come wasn't William on vacation? He took his entire family to France while Charles was out. So this nonsense is just full-blown BS. Harry doesn't work for the royal family. He doesn't know Charles' schedule. Charles might know Harry's schedule. Harry doesn't know Charles' schedule because the appeal date was scheduled for a very long time. Harry even made reference to it in one of his appearances. I believe it was the Millbrook appearance where he was talking about the appeal. All he had to do was sit and wait. So Charles knew about that. So Charles people probably schedule him to go to Italy around the appeal date. So it's the other way around. It's not Harry's fault. Harry doesn't have control of the dates that the court set for his appeal. Charles knew about it. So it's Charles who purposely did that. I'm telling you, these people are ridiculous. The link that they keep on removing to, I don't know, I guess for the gullibles to not put one and one together. My goodness.
But the other, particularly the king, is abroad on a state visit because that's taken a year to plan, and you mustn't do anything to overshadow that. So he would be aware of that.
Meanwhile, well, Prince William sort of overshadowed it a little bit in France.
Thank you.
Well, with the football, you mean? Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yes, exactly. So it's
there's that.
It's something that they try to avoid. That kind of I don't know whether that just got picked up and exploded, but it was perhaps not as significant as Harry going to Ukraine, which is it could also be seen as a sort of two-fingered salute to President Trump, because of course
that's the stirring the pot here. I don't want to continue with this. All right, let me see here. They are desperately signaling Trump, yep, there it is, to attack Harry and prevent him from returning to the US. They despise Trump, but they will use him as a tool against Harry to force Harry to return to the UK. As much we may think Trump is stupid, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows who to target and how to target it. Alright, like I've said in past videos, he started with look how he get rid of all those immigrants. He started with the weakest, alright, and he gave, anyway, let me not go with all of this. Let's leave that alone. These people are getting their rear end in a twist. Ukraine is a new member of the IG family, a charity of which Harry is founded. When was it a requirement to seek permission from the UK government, the palace, and the entourage to visit his charity? All right, that's one of two. This is not a tour, and he will not have attended had he and other representative of the IG team been invited. He is not obliged to sync such appointment with other individual or groups. He is not using the taxpayers to fund his security details. Okay, that should read UK individual or groups. So she's fixing herself, that self-imposed spokesperson. And then not only that, Harry doesn't know Charles' schedule. And the thing that happened in the court, he had no control of the date that they assigned for the appeal. And while he's over there, before he goes back home, he made the stop to Ukraine. Okay, every time Harry pulls an unannounced engagement, it kills them. They earn 0 and it confirms their irrelevance. I mean, this is someone who understands his position. I hope Charles and William understand his position. Without them, the paper will have nothing to write. So this is, Harry understand that. Harry does not have to check in with Buckingham Palace. They will have leaked it. Oh, that's fine. Hey, you lost out with an actual working royal. Your loss, the world gains. Okay, Harry isn't about just turning up and shaking hands. It's about getting into the gruesome situation real war wounded soldiers and their families are facing because he was there in war and knows the consequences of war. Are these people that dense? Don't they realize Haz isn't a working royal and he doesn't have to tell them anything? Okay, the only thing he's got going is Invictus. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, I wanted to say something about that. And he's trying to say, I guess I'm assuming he knows the game plan about Centabali with what's going on. They probably already took it from him. That's the game plan. But we need to know more about that. It crossed my mind too. Okay, and they're trying to connect Harry with Meghan's work. Meanwhile, two different things. Harry doing his thing, Meghan is doing her thing because this is what she enjoys, both of them respectively. All right. The only thing he's got going is Invictus. Excuse me, sir. He has more than that to stay relevant, but he has turned Invictus into a smashing global sensation. What has really done? Nothing. No accomplishment and no legacy. There's the ruling eye. Harry is out working the royals, period. Good King Harry. Oh, well. All right. I think there's more. If I click on that, I think there's going to be more. Right? Okay, so she's typed here. What is this one? This one is shorter. I didn't do this one. I'm assuming it's the same thing as the other one. Alright, Prince Harry isn't working royal. He's following in the steps of his mother, Princess Diana. She said, quote, I am not a political figure. The fact is, I am a humanitarian figure and always will be. Invictus game. Alright, 1 minute and 32 seconds.
We have some massive news coming out of Ukraine in which Prince Harry made an unannounced visit to a hospital inside the Ukrainian city of Lviv to visit some war victims. This is part of his ongoing work with wounded veterans. This came from a spokesperson. He, by the way, if you don't know, actually spent 10 years serving with the British Army, and he's made his entire journey after that in helping injured soldiers. He obviously has the Invictus Games, in which Ukraine was a part of, and I'm assuming that this is one of those things in which he's going to Ukraine to continue his work. This would be the first time we've ever seen any major UK official go to Ukraine and to meet with soldiers like this. This is honestly really fantastic. Not too much from the statement it's himself, except for it was unannounced, and he just kind of went there. He met with wounded soldiers for quite some time. He visited the Superhuman Center, it's called, it's an orthopedic clinic in Lviv, that treats and helps out wounded military personnel and civilians. And it's big because, remember, Ukraine as a country is completely in the war zone. To see Prince Harry over there means a lot. So thank you to Prince Harry and thank you to the UK. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Please share my videos and follow me for more.
Thank you, the UK, for what? It's not the UK who sent. Well, he is British, but that's about it. Those miserable people have no life without blasting their betters. The family Sussex doesn't even know who these mindless drones are. Alright, there's that. Again, they completely missed the point. The work to rehabilitate injured soldiers is completely independent of whatever conflict they are involved with. This is worldwide, and Invictus will be just as interesting and helping injured Russian soldiers. It's about veterans. Exactly. This person gets it. Alright? They're trying to make it political, but they remain neutral. Tina, you are exactly right. This man is a perfect example, trying to make Harry look bad, doing what he always does, caring about wounded. William goes to a football game, acting like a fool, is not overshadowing his father tour. Why bring Trump into it? It's crazy. Yeah, they're trying to stir the pot. The world and Charles knew this since last year that Prince Harry will be back home for his court case. Ukraine visit was planned. Invictus game last year, there's the life here. UK media is in the dark when it comes to Prince Harry's schedule. Charles and William love to copy Prince Harry's schedule. That's true. Alright, Harry can sit on his ass at home, not doing a goddamn thing, and still overshadow every last one of them. The cutting ribbons, a little smile, and wave cool, just as he and his family have been doing since they left over 5 years ago. I mean, Harry is living his life, doing what he's always done. If that's enough to overshadow the king, well, it's not his problem. Also, it is the UK media decided to cover Harry and not Charles or William. That's that again, which again is not Harry's decision or problem. Perfect. This person get it. It's the same thing when Meghan and Harry were in the UK. The tabloid consistently talking about Harry and Meghan, and then the royal family are getting upset because this is what the media is talking about. When in fact, instead of getting upset at Harry and Meghan, they should get upset at the people who's writing the thing. They know that. They know that. This is the link again that they remove. Okay, this is a perfect example. Lately, I've been watching a lot of TikTok videos that are on YouTube about people who's upset with what Trump is doing. When you look at some of those TikTok videos, who they are upset with, they are upset, let's say, the Cuban MAGAs or the white MAGAs, you name it, all of the groups that Trump is deporting, they're getting upset at Black African American who's minding their own business and who's not in office. Okay, it's almost like the royal family who's getting upset at Harry and Meghan when Harry and Meghan are minding their own business instead of getting upset at the tabloid. For those MAGAs, instead of getting upset at Trump, who is in power, who's implementing all of the stuff. I'm telling you, the UK is training people to be like that, to remove part of the missing link, to make them make a self-conscious connection of where the root of the problem is. So they circumnavigate around the problem, blaming the innocent of what the actual person is doing. The tabloid, whoever's writing the tabloid, the journalists or royal rats, whatever you want to call them. These are the main problem, and they know this is what tick the royal family. So they're instigating the royal family to be upset. Oh, there's Harry and Meghan overshadowing you. Okay? So who's writing that? Who's overshadowing who? You decided, the royal rat decided to highlight Harry and Meghan. The MAGAs decided they want to blame African American, who's literally, most of them said they're taking a day off, 4 years off, because the nonsense that's going on is just crazy. But instead, the people who's knocking at their door, deporting their friends and family, neighbors, friends, you name it, are the Trump people. But they neglect to point the finger at Trump. I don't know. So the training of the media to circumnavigate the root of the problem is passing on to the people. I think there's more to it, but like I said, I wasn't gonna go into that as well. I'm sure there's another one. If you guys want me to come and highlight more, there's Harry doing that. Alright, this I covered that already. So maybe that one I could cover. Let's go back to this. Let me cover this and then that'll be it. It's 53 seconds. It's not that long. Harry get the job done, and there are those who sit on TV to abuse, bully, trolls, and harass Harry and Meghan. It was only a surprise visit for the toxic, racist, evil British press and royalists. I'm sure it was no surprise to the people that mattered. And Victor's game. Okay, so there's all of that. 53 seconds. Let's see.
Now, Prince Harry arrived unannounced in Ukraine today to visit some of the soldiers injured in their war with Russia. The visit is part of his work with wounded veterans. The Prince went to an orthopedic clinic in Lviv in the west of the country. It provides artificial limbs, reconstructive surgery and psychological help free of charge. Harry was accompanied by a group from his Invictus Games Foundation, including 4 veterans who've been through similar rehabilitation.
Prince Harry made a surprise visit to Ukraine to see people who've been injured in the war. He went to a clinic in the city of Lviv that rehabilitates wounded military personnel and civilians. He was accompanied by a group from the Invictus Games Foundation, which he set up to help injured soldiers. Harry's visit was not announced until after he'd left the country.
They're repeating the same thing. I love this, but someone better let him know this visit has nothing to do with UK, but otherwise great clip. Fact, thanks to Harry, not the UK. Exactly. Okay, I love the word choice, unannounced versus surprise, because this is a heavily organized work. They just aren't sharing it until they are ready. Remember, he's not a working royal. He's just continuing his mother's legacy. So this is goodwill deed, voluntary effort, the People's Prince of Heart, HRH. Okay, people really need to get it into their head that Prince Harry no longer works for the UK. Why is that so hard? They know. This is why they removed the HRH, even though he still has it. But when he left, they said, so there is no association. All these things, like I said, the royal family, the institution, they created it. Okay, and Harry just mind his own business and go along. They removed the HRH, thinking that when he leaves, people is gonna bend to him because he is HRH, just because of the word. Okay, so they say you cannot use HRH once you leave being a working royal. Okay, Harry usually said just call me Harry or something like that. There's Harry putting in the work. People are respecting him for the things that he stand by. He put things into words and action. All right, so that's that. Let's go to the next tweet. Oh my Lord, I think I'm gonna have another video because I'm going very slow with some of this. Okay, this is a long thread. The latest from Harry's court case is heartbreaking. He wasn't born into a family, he was born into an institution. He's had to build his own version of home with Meghan. They were debating Meghan's security as far back as 2017, long before the wedding, before everything. They didn't value her life. They never saw her as human. It was like she wasn't worth protecting in their eyes, and now that extends to their children, making it the saddest part. The thing they create in their head, the racist colonialism type of mentality, these people, they will never learn. This will never get out of their system. I don't know what will make them change. I really don't know. The smear campaign started early, and the purpose was for her to get intimidated, break up with Harry. When that didn't work, they recruited her own father to stop the wedding. He said so himself. Yeah, I have that clip. The whole point is to mess up the wedding.
That may have been one of the things that upset her. And of course, the photographs were a setup. I was set up by a guy named Jeff Rayner and another guy named Dylan Howard, who was with American Media, I think. And the whole thing was a plan to actually mess up the wedding.
That said it all, and shame on him for going along with it. The media attacks, the coordinated trolling, the palace silence, it wasn't passive, it was deliberate, and it's still deliberate. Tyler Perry was right. Meghan and Harry were too generous in that Oprah interview. They could have said so much more. Remember those articles they thought were a flex about the vile names Meghan is called behind palace doors, but they still want us to believe she was the bully. Get the F out of here. The royal family are the bullies. As the Commonwealth countries, they will give you a few free examples, which those accusing Meghan of bullying can't, apart from the 5 a.m. email. There's the slap in the face. The Queen's request of Harry and Meghan retaining their security as per court document was overlooked. They can't even produce the minutes of the decision meeting, which will confirm where the other came from. They overlooked their own policy on how risk is assessed when it came to Harry and Meghan. And don't forget, their security was withdrawn whilst they were still working members of the royal family. Okay, Harry's latest interview, as they're creating their nonsense, they will trip over their own stupidity. And that will expose their butt. Okay, Harry's latest interview makes it clear. He's done with them. That wasn't a family. It was a machine built to control and destroy the minute you step out of the mark line. And there to succeed out of that mark line, the target becomes even larger. And we're seeing it in real time. Sad but true. Alright, so that's that. Spot on. Excellent post. And Vivek certainly seemed to create chaos, violate protocol and multiple counts by making that decision while the Sussexes were still on hiatus, indicating a clear breach. Failed to complete risk assessment is concerning, betraying the Queen. That's that 1 year review, and they pulled the security over under them. And then that 1 year review was to give them time to think about their ways. Do you really want to stay out or do you want to stay in? All of that. They pulled the security right under them, and then they sent people right in front of their doorstep in Canada. The Queen required of Harry and Meghan retaining their security as per court document was overlooked. They can't even produce the minute of the decision meeting, which could confirm whether the order came from. They overlooked their own policy on how risk assessed. Okay, I'm reading the same thing I just read up there. Very well said. Behind the facade, they are not a family. They are a cold and manipulative institution. Like I said, and Meghan have said that as well. Okay, there's the family and there's the firm.
It's hard for people to distinguish the two because it's a family business, right? Mm-hmm. So there's the family and then there's the people that are running the institution. Those are two separate things, and it's important to be able to compartmentalize that because the Queen, for example, has always been wonderful to me.
If you look leading up to the Oprah interview, I said this part before Meghan even mentioning, they operate in a like a business aspect. But what they do, the royal family, when it comes to family, they do their thing. But when it comes to Harry, they mingle everything. Okay, the family and the business aspect. But for them, they differentiate it. When Harry's asking for privacy and all of that with his family, they claim, oh, you're working royal, all the BS they've been saying in the back. But when it comes to William, Charles, and the others, they differentiate that. And Harry keep on saying, no, there is a difference. When I'm working, you could take as many pictures as you want. When I'm with my family, get the F away from me. I'm not doing royal work right now. This kind of thing. But they mingle everything. They actually wanted to be part of Harry's everyday life. Everything that he's doing. So they could write their BS. Whole Princess Diana is waiting for Charles with a card full of rocks to throw at him. He was a bad son, a bad husband, and is a bad dad. Same way they lie about Princess Diana, refused security, but spiteful, evil Charles denied her and wanted her gone. The more any decent person think about how British royal family gaslight the people, the more one realizes that they will stop at nothing to keep their opulence life, taxpayers' expense. Taking into account the media, royal voter hate that was sent across the world, UK's head of counter-terrorism team investigating countless viable threats and 2 men jailed for 10 years, all of the very same time of removing security. It's clear they wanted their problem eliminated. Yeah, the same thing they did to Princess Diana. Okay, the fact that the wishes of the late queen was ignored is telling. Good analysis and 100% accurate. I mean, some of these things I've been saying for a very long time. And this is why my channel is not growing. And thus, why sometimes I share the background.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.
You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.